Well, I'm pushing for 40,000 subscribers here on GlobeTrotting. Be sure to subscribe. In the competitive world of aviation, there are many entrepreneurs that exist with the dream of launching their own airline and taking to the skies with maybe a unique business model. But we do also have video games, offering us the potential to strategize and dive deeper into the industry's inner workings, without taking the risk. But some people break through, and Avatar Airlines is one ambitious startup, if you could even call it that has been trying to launch for decades now, and become what they hope a significant player in the aviation industry. However, the endeavour has hit numerous challenges and concerns and left many people questioning the legitimacy of the business. Avatar Airlines really has an unconventional business plan that I would say distinguishes it from, say, your more traditional carriers and even traditional startups, which are more advanced in the grand scheme of things and have a more bulletproof plan. The cornerstone of their approach is to operate the 747 aircraft, one of the world's largest and most iconic wide-body jets, but also one that is wildly out of favour when it comes to routine flying. The startup identified low-cost flights to many destinations from ports within the United States, utilising these Queen of the Skies as their primary focus. Ideally, it really wants to focus on budget travel, as I touched on, and make people that are trying to fly on the cheap be able to achieve their dreams. But that is really just an overview, and I must say it doesn't get much better for the remainder of the video. The company's leadership has highlighted the strategy as a means to disrupt the airline industry and give travelers more affordable options, which is something you love to hear. If this was serious at all, which Avatar is not. There are many concerns present, and I'd argue that the rest of the video is going to be touching on those concerns. Despite their ambitious vision, you'd have enough challenges that they've faced to really write a 300-page novel. Launching an airline is not easy, particularly one that operates wide-body aircraft. It requires substantial funding and also a clear focus on a business model that works and is sustainable. Avatar Airlines has not only struggled to secure the capital it would need to start operations, but their repeated attempts to raise funds through crowdfunding platforms and more have not really provided them with the results that you'd say they desire. This is despite their CEO continuing to push investors through the door for his scam startup on LinkedIn. Regulatory hurdles can also contribute to any startup looking to enter into the industry, even with a solid business model. Avatar Airlines, though, stands essentially zero chance of obtaining these. The FAA subjects new carriers to massive safety and financial reviews before it is given the green light, so it's not an easy process, and for someone like Avatar, they don't really have the required approvals and are nowhere near achieving these. While there are red flags at almost every corner of this business, it must be said, I did still want to analyse what their intentions were, and the only way this startup really gets airborne, if ever, would be through operating their desired aircraft, the 747. The choice of operating the Boeing 747, considered outdated regarding fuel efficiency and maintenance costs, has been met with skepticism and some significant belly laughs too. Using older aircraft can actually benefit some companies in the short term, if acquired on the cheap. They can be that short-term solution before eventually the said company looks towards purchasing next-generation planes. However, they will always lead to higher operational expenses, potentially undermining, in this case, Avatar's cost-saving strategy that it wanted to implement. Of course, question marks over even if cost savings are possible. The airline is based in the United States and would see it compete with pretty much every legacy carrier that you can think of. That presents significant concerns whether or not they would stand a chance at competing with these established carriers. We are talking your American, United, Delta, and many more. Remember, the airline wanted to fly with the 747s, but also operate low cost, so you could argue that it would therefore be competing with your Southwests and many more. These are not small startup airlines. They are are mainstays with an already established customer base. Some more serious topics away from the business model include the idea that the airline has no proven track record with this endeavour. Avatar Airlines, believe it or not, can date back towards the 1990s with Family Airlines, when this carrier, led by Barry Michaels, wanted to offer low-cost flights utilising the 747. You see those similarities emerging? It also wanted to focus on leisure travel. However, there were significant hurdles, alongside lawsuits involving the company's leadership and highlighting the airline's nature and how all the concerns were more than valid. Ultimately, it couldn't obtain any of the approvals it was after. Following Family Airlines, which as I touched on occurred in the 1990s, it was in the 2010s when Avatar Airlines emerged for the first time. At the same time, being led by Barry Michaels, who filed for the airline's name. An application didn't proceed, and question marks persisted over leadership, with continued concerns over Mr. Michaels, who was leading them. There was a substantial amount of uncertainty whether or not he was actually the CEO or wasn't, but now I think we can firmly say, based on his LinkedIn posts and information about this startup company, that he is leading it. Avatar Airlines struggle to launch its unique business model has sparked a lot of skepticism and concerns about its legitimacy, although I think many would argue nowadays that there is no legitimacy around it, and it is a scam. But where do you stand? And let's just say if, hypothetically, the airline was to proceed or had proceeded in the many years prior, do you actually believe it would have even stood a chance of operating these low-cost flights with the Boeing 747 series? We've had many wild, outlandish claims by their executives saying that they were looking to purchase British Airways 747s, amongst many more. None of this fabricated, and today, as we approach 2024, it is pretty much radio silence, despite a few attempts from Barry Michaels to try and source funding, although that's not necessarily worked. With their vision of offering ultra low-cost flights on the 747, it is, I must say, intriguing, even if it's not real, but the challenges they face in financing, regulatory hurdles, and then competition have cast a lot of doubt on their ability to succeed in such a highly competitive market, ignoring all the other issues. And many would say that Avatar Airlines has really led the way in terms of uncertainty when a new company or startup emerges. There are many startups that exist, but very few that actually have the potential to launch, or very few that are created with the intention of launching. Some are utterly ridiculous, and you'd say that Avatar Airlines falls in that category. An airline that will never fly, but will just continue to exist and plod along, maybe with the odd interview here or there, the odd new remark, but at the end of the day, it is met with more laughter than seriousness, which says everything you need to know about it. That is going to conclude today's aviation analysis. If you have any thoughts, you are more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel, it really does mean a lot. Take care and be safe, and I will indeed see you next time.